Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Our next weather maker is this cold front that'll sweep through and help to bring us an increasing chance for rain. I'll show you how much we could see over the next several days.
1 year later, the effort to recover from Helene is far from over. The work that's left in western North Carolina.
And effects in our area. Some businesses are still rebuilding after an EF3 tornado spawned Helene. Rocky Mount is trying to move forward, and that community has had its share of severe storms over the years. So glad you're with us here in the 8 o'clock hour on Fox 50. I'm Ken Smith.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Hopefully you're having a good start to your Thursday. Weather-wise, a lot like yesterday. Pretty warm out there already. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner also tracking some rain.
Yeah, it definitely feels like summer stepping out the door. We did have a round of rain this morning that rolled through. That has dissipated. We're seeing some rain across parts of the mountains, moving into the Piedmont. And then the cold front here will roll in and stall over us for Friday. And then we may add some tropical moisture over the weekend. So it's a very complicated pattern. There's a lot going on. So you can see the light showers west of the Triad right now. We'll have a better chance later this afternoon of some storms, but we'll watch those showers that are moving closer to us. We're going to keep a 20% chance for rain in this morning. From the Triangle area, north and west, later on today, it's a level 1 risk. That means 1 or 2 of those storms could produce some wind damage. It's a pretty start in Durham, as long as you don't mind it being warm and humid. 74 with that dew point way up there at 68, and we'll climb to 92 this afternoon, and then we'll see an increasing chance for storms. A 90% chance that this system here in the tropics could become Imelda. Of course, we have Umberto that developed yesterday. Both of those storms are going to start off moving northwest, but likely then trek out into the Atlantic. But we could still see a lot of moisture from both of these. You can watch those model plots, and you can see how they kick out by the time we get to maybe the middle of next week. Still, a lot of rain in our forecast for the weekend, 70 to 80%. I'll show you what those rainfall, what those days could total up coming up. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. If you've been with us this morning, we've been following this crash on Highway 42 that's now cleared near Creech Road in Clayton. But this is what it looked like in terms of our crew on the scene. John Payne sending us these pictures, reporting that this was a 4-vehicle crash. You can see how heavily damaged those cars are. And there was Highway 42 in that area was closed in both directions at one point. But again, Highway 42 is cleared. We just wanted to show you what was going on, just in case you were wondering about it living in that area. Back here at closer to the present time, here's a live look at I-87 and Smithfield Road. Boy, the congestion on those southbound lanes of I-87 have really eased up quite a bit because right now you're looking at an 8-minute delay. At one point, that was in the double digits. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown around the I-85, I-40 interchange coming in from Chapel Hill this morning. You're looking at a 10-minute delay. Similarly, if you're coming in from Wake Forest, you're looking at a 10-minute delay as well. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
All right, thank you, Ken. A burglary investigation in Wake County. The WRAL breaking news tracker captured this video at a smoke shop on Timber Drive in Garner. You can see broken glass on the door there. Forensics was there earlier taking photos of the scene. No arrests have been made. And one person was arrested, another detained after a foot chase near Chavis Park in Raleigh. Police say they were trying to make a traffic stop just after 11:30 last night when 2 people jumped out of the car and ran. A man was caught and arrested. He is charged with possession of a stolen vehicle, among other charges. A person under 18 was detained and released. Today, the push for help to recover from Helene is ongoing 1 year since the storm devastated western North Carolina, and people there are still working to rebuild what they lost. The storm killed more than 100 people in our state. It left behind almost $60 billion in damage. Over the last year, people have been hard at work rebuilding towns, homes, and roads. And the devastation from the storm was felt in our viewing area as well. An EF3 tornado touched down in Rocky Mount, left businesses destroyed, and more than a dozen people hurt. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live in Rocky Mount this morning. And Kelsey, that building behind you there was pretty badly damaged during the storm.
Yes, Michelle. 15 people were injured during that EF3 tornado. And I'm standing where a business used to be here on North Wesleyan Boulevard, but the building was demolished. So you're looking at what's left. All of this is the area in Rocky Mount where an EF3 tornado ripped through 1 year ago today. We'll show you some aerial shots from Drone 5 to give you a look at some of the damage. 14 buildings were destroyed, including a church and multiple restaurants. Wind speeds peaked at 140 miles per hour, according to the National Weather Service. Just days after the storm hit, linemen from Rocky Mount were sent to western North Carolina. They worked to restore power for hundreds who were devastated after Helene. Electrical line supervisor Cody Melvin reflects on his crew's hard work.
Looking back, I felt like we done a good job when we went up there. I felt like that we done the best we could, and you want to make sure that you leave something better than what you found it.
And now back to our live picture here on North Wesleyan Boulevard in Rocky Mount. You can see what's left of a Chinese restaurant that was destroyed during the storm. We are told that that restaurant is now permanently closed, and some of the other businesses that are in this plaza have reopened, but at least 2 of them are closed. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Rocky Mount.
Well, in the same vein, tonight, WRAL looks at the reasons behind the slow federal response to Helene recovery. Some towns say the federal government has left them behind. Helene caused catastrophic flooding and mudslides, damaging more than 185,000 homes and taking 108 lives. In a brand new documentary airing tonight, WRAL investigates why relief has been so slow.
The help that we've received have been through private organizations, volunteers, not the government, not state, not federal.
The people here are the people helping.
I just want to make sure that our government matches their passion, their determination, their grit. They have supported each other. We must support them.
We'll explain a change in federal policy that may be slowing down an already overburdened system. Helene, What We Lost, What We Found airs tonight on WRAL at 7:30. It streams wherever you watch WRAL and on WRAL's YouTube channel. And coming up in about 10 minutes, what Governor Josh Stein and other leaders are doing to push the federal government to release more Helene recovery money.
Today, Governor Josh Stein will ask state legislators to reverse Medicaid cuts. North Carolina health officials say if they don't get more funding before October 1st, they'll have to cut Medicaid reimbursement rates. The state House and Senate have 2 different funding plans. The governor released a statement accusing legislative leaders of putting, quote, politics over people. He will speak more on that at an Alliance Medical Ministry in Raleigh. That's happening at 2:30 this afternoon.
Former U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is visiting Duke University today. He'll be speaking on campus at the Sanford School of Public Policy. The event is called Pathways Forward, the Road to a New America. Tickets are only available to Duke students and staff, though. He'll speak around 5 this evening. Buttigieg visited our state several times last year to promote the Biden administration's infrastructure investments.
The UNC Board of Trustees meets this morning in Chapel Hill. It's the first meeting since the board was sued over allegations that members violated public meeting laws. A UNC professor claims that board members illegally used closed sessions to discuss aspects of the hiring of football coach Bill Belichick that should have been discussed in open meetings. He also accuses the board of using disappearing text messages to discuss other matters. Board chairman Malcolm Turner calls the allegations baseless and inaccurate. Turner and Chancellor Lee Roberts are expected to address the board at today's meeting, and Roberts is expected to meet with the media. For more on the lawsuit, you can go to WRAL.com.
Today, a judge in Orange County will hear arguments in a lawsuit against Duke Energy. The town of Carver is suing the company over damages town leaders say climate change caused. The lawsuit was filed back in December. The town claims Duke's reliance on fossil fuels contributed to rising temperatures, flooding, and storm damage, and that it cost the town millions of dollars to repair roads and manage the storm system.
A big day for the future of TikTok today. President Donald Trump expected to sign off on a deal to sell the Chinese-based company to a group of American investors. That's according to 2 White House officials. Once the deal takes effect, TikTok's U.S. operations will be run by a new joint venture company, and the current parent company, ByteDance, will hold less than 20% of stock in the new company. This deal comes after a bipartisan bill was passed last year forcing the sale to a U.S.-based owner.
The Department of Homeland Security is increasing security at ICE facilities after yesterday's shooting in Texas. On social media, DHS says Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem ordered increased security. 1 person was killed and 2 others critically injured after the shooting at the Ice Field office in Dallas. No officers were injured. Police say the suspect took his own life after that shooting.
Coming up, a heartwarming act of kindness.
Do you hug? Yeah. Come here.
A North Carolina deputy offers a hug when a woman needed it the most. Why that woman says this helped keep her get on the right track.
You don't want to miss that story. Funding fight. North Carolina is pushing for more federal dollars to help with Helene recovery, while state lawmakers say this is crucial to make sure we're prepared for the next storm.
And we're looking at increasing chances of rain as we get into the afternoon. There's a small chance that we could see some severe storms. And this is just the beginning of a long string of days with rain. I'll show you how much we could see. 8:13, taking a look at satellite and radar, tracking that cold front that's going to come in. This is going to be our transition day, so we'll start to see a better chance for rain today, but we'll still have some sunshine, and it's going to be fairly warm this afternoon. Some rain in the mountains right now, some of that pushing on into the foothills. Most of that will dissipate before it reaches us, but finally, late this afternoon, we'll end up with a better chance for rain, especially after lunchtime. We do have a level 1 risk for severe storms, so 1 or 2 of those could produce some wind damage. Right now, a good bit of sunshine showing up there at RDU. Temperatures are warm in the low to mid 70s, 74 Durham, 73 Fayetteville, 72 in Cary. If you're looking for a time to get outside and run, I would do it as early as you can. It's really humid out there, and we're likely to hit 92 this afternoon. And then the storms start to roll in. We'll have a long string of days where we could see some rain. I'll show you why coming up, Ken.
Happening now in the WRAL traffic center, Elizabeth. Boy, we're seeing that heavy congestion in those northbound lanes of I-885 heading into Durham this morning. It's a situation where it's usually part of the morning congestion, because here's what you're looking at. If you're heading into Durham this morning, you're looking at a 6-minute delay. We're also seeing those delays coming on the southbound lanes as well. You're looking at a 9-minute delay, but that's closer to the 147 I-885 split. In terms of other routes heading into Durham this morning, you're just looking at a 6-minute delay if you're using Highway 98 to get to Durham from Wake Forest.
All right, thank you, Ken. A Helene funding fight in Raleigh today, 1 year after the storm hit western North Carolina. Governor Josh Stein has been pushing for more federal funds for weeks now. And WRAL's Allie Calabar is live in Raleigh this morning. Allie, today state lawmakers continuing that push.
Yeah, over a year later, more than $44 billion is not funded. And so we're going to hear from lawmakers and leaders today pressing for that funding. Counties are still dealing with the devastating damage, and it's hurting them financially. The state requested money from the feds to cover about half of the damage. The federal government has approved 10%. A portion is from FEMA. FEMA's delay stems from a new approval process. And in a hearing yesterday, county leaders from western North Carolina, they expressed frustrations with this delay in federal funding.
The state is a lot faster than the feds, and we appreciate that. We still have a lot of trouble getting our money out of that, getting it obligated, jumping through the continuous hoops. Time is money for us, and time means people's health.
Now, in the past 2 weeks, FEMA has approved tens of millions of dollars in funding for western North Carolina. Today at 11 a.m., we're going to hear from those lawmakers and leaders throughout the state about this funding and push for it. That's again at 11 a.m. Reporting live in Raleigh, Allie Calabar, WRAL News.
And events are planned over the next several days to mark the anniversary of Helene. Tomorrow, Governor Josh Stein, state and federal leaders will be in western North Carolina. They'll tour the I-40 reconstruction zone. There will also be a ribbon-cutting ceremony at the Blue Ridge Parkway in Asheville to celebrate progress on repairs.
Here at the WRAL Live Center, I have my eyes on Amazon launching their rocket there, and this is supposed to be for them to deploy their internet satellites into space, and this is their bid to take on SpaceX and more specifically Starlink to try to get people access to the internet via satellite here. Essentially, this is a launch from the United Launch Alliance. It happened a little bit ago. We're about 6 or 7-ish minutes past that. It happened this morning at Cape Canaveral, Florida, and looks like the broadcast is just wrapping up as I'm finishing my hit here in the Live Center. But again, we know that Amazon is trying to take on Starlink, trying to make sure that satellite internet is available to more people.
All right, Chris, we appreciate that. Listen, we'll give you a live look now at Capitol Hill in the nation's capital, where time is running out for lawmakers to pass a spending bill and avoid a government shutdown. October 1st, next Wednesday, is the deadline. As the clock ticks, the White House Budget Office threatening mass firings if a shutdown happens. This is according to a memo that outlines which programs to target first. This is a different strategy from different shutdown scenarios and an escalation between President Trump and congressional Democrats.
A little more than a month after the train stabbing in Charlotte that killed Irina Zarutska, Vice President J.D. Vance is focusing on public safety. Vance was in Concord yesterday. That was the day after state lawmakers passed Irina's law. The bill seeks to eliminate cashless bail in North Carolina. The bill is also meant to make it easier to commit people to mental hospitals. A major focus of his speech was on supporting law enforcement.
When I talk about protecting the American dream, when President Trump talks about fighting for the American dream, at the very top of that list is fighting for your ability, whether you're rich or poor, to be safe in the home that you love. It is our sacred obligation. It's their sacred obligation.
And WRAL also asked the vice president what the administration is doing to speed up distribution relief funding for Western North Carolina. He said they inherited a FEMA with problems, and they continue to work on those issues.
A new mural is coming to downtown Smithfield. It will honor the Tuscarora people. They are indigenous people who populated Smithfield before the Tuscarora War in the 1700s. Some descendants still live in that area to this day. Artist Brian Lewis will paint the mural. It will be on South 3rd Street. The mural is expected to be installed in November in celebration of Native American Heritage Month.
A North Carolina woman is sharing her story of a heartwarming moment during a traffic stop. Caitlin Riccini was pulled over for speeding in Caribas County, and she says because of her history with law enforcement, her guard was up. But Deputy Sean Singleton de-escalated the situation and noticed that she just needed support. He gave her a hug. Riccini says this kept her on the right path as she recovers from addiction.
Give me a hug? Yeah. Come here.
I just find myself, pouring out my heart to him, telling him how hard it's been and, that I had to give up my son back in December and that I was, down here trying my very best to stay clean and sober so I could get him back.
This happened back in March, and she says she has since regained custody of her son and is forever grateful for Deputy Singleton's kindness. That is an amazing story. All right, let's get over to weather meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Finally, Elizabeth, some much needed rain.
Yes, and it's going to be a whole lot of it, too. I'm tracking this cold front for several days, and that's finally getting a little closer to us, close enough to send us a few light showers earlier this morning. We have rain falling in the mountains right now, and you can see some of that rain as far east as the Piedmont. So we'll watch that. We're not likely to see much this morning. As a matter of fact, we're seeing some sunshine right now. By the middle of the afternoon, we start to cloud up, and then we'll see a round of thunderstorms. A few of those cells could produce some wind damage. We'll see that on and off through the evening and overnight. It'll come in waves, so it's not going to rain all night long. And again, here's our level 1 risk, which means, again, a few of those cells could produce some wind damage. On Friday, also, not an all-day rain. We may not see much rain in the morning. Mid to late afternoon, we have a few cells that start to pop up over the area. So we're trending a little bit drier for Friday, and we're trending a bit wetter for Saturday. Right now, it's pretty quiet out there. A good bit of sunshine. Of course, the tropics are going to add to the moisture as we get into the weekend and early next week. 90% chance that this becomes Imelda in the next couple of days. Umberto, of course, formed yesterday. Umberto moving northwest at 10 miles per hour. It's a tropical storm with 45-mile-per-hour winds, but look at this. It could easily become Category 2, then Category 3 as it moves past Bermuda. And, of course, with it coming close to the coast of the United States, we could see some issues along the Outer Banks, and we could see some rain. And then potentially Imelda moves a little closer to the coast of the U.S. Will both of them get kicked offshore? That's what these models say. It's going to be close for comfort, so we'll keep our eye on it. At minimum, they're going to send a good bit of moisture our way. So we're looking at a chance for rain Saturday and Sunday. Heavier rain, more of an all-day type event. All total for the next 7 days, we're seeing these numbers climb every day. So now we're looking at 3 to to 4 inches of rainfall. We have a low risk for flooding Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. When we say a low risk, a lot of times it's a zero risk. So that low risk, of course, we sit up and take notice of. We'll also see our temperatures cooling off. We hit 92 again this afternoon, but then we're much cooler for the bulk of the week. Ken?
Elizabeth, we're following some breaking news to the east of Raleigh, I-87. There's a crash in the southbound lane not far from the I-440 interchange, causing this huge backup on I-87 in those southbound lanes. So if you're stuck in this traffic, you're listening to us on 101.5 HD3, I would recommend getting off on the Smithfield Road exit, work your way over the Pool Road, and then back toward the Beltline, because right now you're looking at a 12-minute delay, a 9-minute delay for my friends coming in from Wake Forest. The other troubled spot in Durham beginning to clear up just a little bit. These are the 885 northbound lanes heading into Durham this morning. Right now we're looking, it's not double digits yet, but if you're heading into Durham this morning, you're looking at a 7-minute delay, 8-minute delay if you're leaving Durham at this hour using 885.
All right, thank you, Ken. Financial crisis. The state auditor is being brought into Rocky Mount. Only on WRAL what the county board chair believes went wrong. And saving on gas. 5 on Your Side shows you the steps you can take right now to save some money and get the best mileage out of your car.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning and happy Thursday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Ken Smith tracking some backups on I-87, some lane closures. Ken.
Yeah, there's a crash on I-87 right before the I-540 interchange there that's causing a huge delay right now on I-87 in those southbound lanes. You can hear what I'm talking about all the way over the Smithfield Road. So listen, if you're listening to us on 101.5 HD3, this is what you're expecting. It's a huge backup right now. Get off on the Smithfield Road exit. Work your way over to Pool Road and then back toward the Beltline this morning. That will get you around what's happening there on these lanes on I-87. I'll have an update for you coming up at the bottom of the hour. Elizabeth?
At least it's dry out there for now. We may have some of these showers that are back to our west developing across the area during the evening commute. They're likely to be scattered, so it may be that we'll be just fine. It's just a 40% chance, but a few of those cells could produce some wind damage. We have a level 1 risk for severe storms later on today. We're seeing a mix of sun and clouds this morning, and it's warm and muggy. Temperatures are in the low to mid 70s. It's going to be another hot, humid afternoon with highs in the low 90s. But we'll see an increasing chance of rain getting through the weekend. And of course, our temperatures will start to drop. Highs in the 70s.
Thanks, Elizabeth. One person was arrested, another detained after a foot chase near Chavis Park in Raleigh. Police say they were trying to make a traffic stop just after 11:30 p.m. when 2 people jumped out of the car and ran. A man was caught and arrested. He is charged with possession of a stolen vehicle. And today, Governor Stein will ask state legislators to reverse Medicaid cuts. North Carolina health officials say if they don't get more funding before October 1st, they'll have to cut Medicaid reimbursement rates. He'll speak at Alliance Medical Ministry in Raleigh at 2:30. We'll have more traffic news and weather over on Fox 50.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
That breaking news takes us to the east of Raleigh, more specifically I-87 in those southbound lanes. There's a crash right before the I-540 interchange, causing this huge backup. I'll let you know how to get around it.
And taking a look at our next weather maker, this cold front will swing in and stall and help to bring us a much better chance for rain. Then some tropical moisture will keep the rain going into the weekend. I'll explain.
And Helene, 1 year later, today North Carolina is still working to recover after Helene devastated the mountains, the local impacts from that storm.
And fighting for Medicaid, Governor Josh Stein coming to Raleigh today to call for cuts to be reversed, while he says state legislators are putting politics over people. We'll have that and a whole lot more here at 8:30. Thanks for being with us. I'm Ken Smith.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. A lot to get to still this morning in the 8 o'clock hour. But we're going to start with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. No rain yet, Elizabeth, but the rain is on the way.
It is. We had a little bit of rain earlier this morning, and that tapered off. We do have some showers back here across parts of the Piedmont and the foothills. We'll have a better chance for rain this afternoon, but it's still just 40%. That means it's going to be scattered, and not everybody will see it. But as we get into the evening commute and into dinner time, we'll have a wave of some showers and storms that develop. A few of those could be strong to severe clear. So we do have a level 1 risk from the Triangle area north and west. We have this interesting deck of clouds here in as we look toward Garner, but we're also seeing sunshine in some places. I thought that was just a really neat shot. 74 is our temperature with our dew point at 68. So it's a warm summer feel this morning as you're heading out. Another hot day with highs in the low 90s, but starting tomorrow, our temperatures do begin to cool down. We get into the weekend and we'll likely have some tropical moisture. That system could become Imelda. This is Umberto. Both of those are going to start to track closer to the United States, but then may get kicked out to sea. In the meantime, they'll likely push a lot of tropical moisture our way. That really increases our chance for rain over the weekend, 70 to 80%. I'll show you what that could total up to coming up. Ken?
Elizabeth, getting back to that breaking news right now to the east of Raleigh, we're talking specifically I-87 in those southbound lanes. It's right before the I-540 interchange. You can see the huge backups it's causing all the way back to Smithfield Road. And I got to tell you, if you're on Smithfield Road, I-87 in those southbound lanes right now, you're listening to us on 101.5 HD3, you might want to get off on the Smithfield Road exit, work your way to Pool Road, and then back toward the Beltline, because it is bumper-to-bumper traffic and slow going right now. Because here's what we're looking at in terms of a delay. You're looking at a 19-minute delay if you're coming in from Nightdale. So keep that the alternate route on Pool Road in mind. 7 minutes if you're coming in from Wake Forest this morning. Over in Durham, we're still seeing those northbound lanes really moving rather slowly, but at least they're moving this morning into Durham. We're also seeing a little bit of congestion building on those southbound lanes as well. You're coming northbound, you're running to a 6-minute delay. If you're using 885 to get to I-40 this morning, you're looking at an 8-minute delay. You were getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
All right, thank you, Ken. 3 cars and a pickup truck were involved in a crash on NC 42 in Johnston County this morning. Video from the scene shows the severity of the damage to those cars. This happened near Creech Road at about 6:30 this morning. Look at this video. We are working to learn whether anybody was hurt in this and what led to this crash.
A burglary investigation is underway this morning in Wake County. The WRAL breaking news tracker captured this video at a smoke shop on Timber Drive in Garner. You can see broken glass on that door. Forensics were there earlier taking photos of that scene. So far, no arrest in this investigation.
One person was arrested, another detained after a foot chase near Chavis Park in Raleigh. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. Police say they were trying to make a traffic stop just after 11:30 p.m. when 2 people jumped out of the car and ran. A man was caught and arrested. He is charged with possession of a stolen vehicle, among other charges. A person under 18 was detained and released.
Today, Governor Josh Stein will ask state lawmakers to reverse Medicaid cuts. North Carolina health officials say if they don't get some more funding before October 1st, they'll have to cut Medicaid reimbursement rates. The State House and Senate have 2 different funding plans. The governor released a statement accusing legislators of putting politics over people. He will speak more on that at Alliance Medical Ministry in Raleigh this afternoon around 2:30. Well, this week marks 1 year since Helene devastated North Carolina. People in the western part of our state are still trying to recover from that damage. It brought widespread destruction, including landslides and levels of flooding. It damaged thousands of roads, highways, and bridges. Some saw up to 30 inches of rain. 108 people died all across the state in that storm.
And people in Nash County were also hit hard during Helene. Tornadoes hit as the storm passed. Among them, an EF3 tornado that hit Rocky Mount. This is a look at some of the widespread damage left behind. And now we're looking at the progress being made 1 year later. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey takes us to Rocky Mount.
15 people were injured during that EF3 tornado. And I'm standing where one of the businesses used to be here on North Wesleyan Boulevard. That building had to be demolished, so you're looking at what's left. New Drone 5 video shows what this plaza on North Wesleyan Boulevard looks like today. This is the area where that EF3 tornado ripped through last year. Here's a look at some of the damage after it first happened. 14 buildings were destroyed, including a church and multiple restaurants. Wind speeds peaked at 140 miles per hour, according to the National Weather Service. Just days after this tornado hit, linemen from Rocky Mount were sent to western North Carolina. They worked to restore power for hundreds who were devastated after Helene. Electrical line supervisor Cody Melvin remembers the communities he served in the mountains.
They were very appreciative People were willing to do whatever they could to help out, make sure we had what we needed and stuff like that. So it was nice to see the neighborhood come together.
We'll show you what's left of a Chinese restaurant that was a part of this plaza. You can see how the windows and the doors are all boarded up there. And we're also told that this restaurant is now permanently closed. Some of the businesses in this area have reopened, but at least 2 of them are closed. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Rocky Mount.
And tonight, WRAL marks 1 year since the disaster with a new documentary focusing on families and communities changed forever. Helene, What We Lost, What We Found airs at 7:30 p.m. on WRAL and wherever you stream WRAL. And coming up in 10 minutes, WRAL's Ali Kathabar will give us a look at where the push for recovery funding stands today.
The maintenance director at Granville County Schools says a mold issue forcing schools to close was preventable for years. Granville Academy staff member reported concerns of mold at the campus last month. According to testing results that came back this week, more than 60% of surface samples and 80% of air samples taken showed mold. The school board decided to relocate those students to G.C. Hawley Middle School in Creedmoor. Last night, the director of maintenance expressed his thoughts on what went wrong.
Unfortunately, in our district, budget often dictates where that money's spent from year to year. Not to say that was the case here during that time, but yes, ma'am, it was definitely a deferred maintenance issue that over time is starting to catch up with us.
Well, the school board plans to move students and staff from school to school in phases. The last move will happen either during winter break or next summer.
The Department of Homeland Security is increasing security at ICE facilities across the country after a shooting at Dallas's field office that killed 1 person. 2 other people are in critical condition. Police say 29-year-old Joshua John fired from a nearby rooftop. He took his own life after the shooting. The FBI released images of a shell casing found near John with the words anti-ICE on them. The acting director of ICE says the shooter was not targeting anyone in particular.
The shooter obviously didn't know who was in the vehicle. He was just randomly shooting at windows into vehicles that he already seen down there.
And the shooter's brother told NBC News John did not have strong feelings about ICE as far as he knew, and that he was, quote, not a marksman, that's for sure. President Donald Trump blamed Democrats in a social media post saying, quote, I am calling on all Democrats to stop this rhetoric against ICE and America's law enforcement right now.
Hours from now, speaking of the president, he will sign a deal facilitating the sale of TikTok to a group of American investors. Once the deal goes into effect, a new joint venture company will run TikTok's U.S. operations. Chinese-based company ByteDance owns TikTok. It would hold less than 20% of the stock of the new company. The deal complies with the bipartisan law passed last year. The law sought to ban TikTok if the platform were not sold to U.S.-based owners this year.
A team from the state auditor's office traveled to Rocky Mount. It comes after the city announced a major financial crisis. The city says it spent millions more than it brought in every month for more than 2 years, and it needs to reduce spending by roughly $30 million over the next 10 months. The city says utility bills will go up and city employees will be laid off to make up for the shortfall. Only on WRAL, Nash County Board Chair Robbie Davis gave new insight into where he thinks the finances went astray. He says the city's decision to raise salaries for police officers was condemnable but not realistic.
When they elevated their police department salaries a very large amount, I knew at the time it was non-sustainable based on revenue that they had. But they just didn't understand what they were doing.
And city officials have pointed to the city manager as a potential source of where finances were mismanaged. But Davis says he thinks ultimately the buck stops with elected officials. For more reaction, go to WRAL.com.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs returns to court today for a hearing ahead of his sentencing. His attorneys argue he spent enough time in jail. They're asking Combs to be sentenced to no more than 14 months in prison, and with credit for good behavior, he could be eligible for release immediately. Prosecutors want Combs to spend more time behind bars, though. A jury convicted him of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Sentencing is set for October 3rd. By that time, he would have served about 13 months in jail. We're staying on top of that breaking news, that crash on I-87 in the southbound lanes just before the I-540 interchange. I'll let you know how to get around this backup.
And saving at the pump. 5 on your side shows you the steps you can take right now to find the least expensive gas and get the best mileage out of your car.
Also, Helene funding setbacks. State leaders are having trouble getting federal dollars to the mountains. How their push against FEMA cuts is moving forward today.
And we're also tracking some rain chances. This is a live look in Sanford. Sunny right now, but just ahead, meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will show us the timeline for potential storms this evening and what we're watching in the tropics.
It's 8:45, and we're seeing a mix of sun and clouds right now, but look at this rain that's north of the Triad. Most of that is going to dissipate before it reaches us, but we'll probably end up with some increasing clouds. Maybe our western counties see a sprinkle or two. A better chance later this afternoon, starting around 4 or 5, and then that goes up a bit as you get between, say, 9 and midnight. We're going to see a round of some isolated showers and thunderstorms, and a few of those could produce some severe weather. It's dry across the viewing area right now, though. You can take a live look at Apex, and we're seeing some cloud cover there, a little sunshine trying to peek through. It is going to be another hot day today. If the kids have practice right after school, those temperatures are still going to be in the low 90s. If it's an evening practice, we'll be in the mid 80s, but it's still going to be on the muggy side. And of course, don't forget, they'll have that potential for some thunderstorms. I'll show you why we're going to have rain in the forecast well into next week. Coming up, Ken.
Elizabeth, we're staying on top of that breaking news on I-87 southbound there in the Knightdale area. We're talking about a crash right near the I-540 interchange, and that backup stretches all the way back to Smithfield Road. This is what it looks like, courtesy of a live cam network. I mean, bumper to bumper traffic. So if you're listening to us on 101.5 HD3, I would highly recommend getting off on Smithfield Road, working your way over to Pool Road, and then back toward the Beltline, because right now you're looking at almost half-hour delay coming into the capital city. I'll keep monitoring this and have an update in about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks, Ken. When it comes to gas prices, every mile counts, right? 5 on your side's Ashley Rowe showing you how to stretch your fuel and your budget.
Before you fill up, take a quick look at the fuel tracker on WRAL.com to find the least expensive gas in your community. You can even search by zip code. Consumer Reports also suggests looking for the top tier gas sticker on the pump. That's the higher standard fuel offered at stations like Costco, Exxon, Mobil, and Shell. You can skip premium unless your car specifically requires it. Check tire pressure regularly, especially as the weather gets colder. Underinflated tires hurt fuel economy. And don't rely on the eco mode button. Consumer Reports experts say it's not a magic fix for saving gas.
We found no fuel economy benefit using eco mode for city and highway driving. Its true ability is to encourage frugal driving behavior.
And the simplest money saver? Keep it smooth. Easy starts and gentle stops can go a long way toward getting the most out of every tank. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
Looks like we have what's trending right now, Ken. Jessica Sanchez, the winner of the season 20 of America's Got Talent, which is absolutely.
And the winner of $1 million is Jessica Sanchez!
Wow, absolutely amazing. What an amazing show. She's 9 months pregnant, Ken. She took big chances on the show with her song selection. A lot of people know one of her most memorable moments, her performance of Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars's Die With a Smile. WRAL will talk with Sanchez later this morning, and you can hear what she had to say on WRAL.com and on our evening newscast starting at noon. I mean, just chills watching her.
And it's a full circle moment for her, because she auditioned for AGT the first season.
Yes.
And now she's in the 30s, she's married, she has a baby on the way.
She never gave up. She came back and she won.
Oh, I love that so much. Hey, rapper Cardi B wants the people to be polite and stay safe on the subway. The New York City subway system has announced that she is the new voice of these safety PSA campaigns.
Yeah, on Instagram, the agency shared this video of Cardi B urging passengers to follow the rules, telling them to, quote, ride safe, keep it cute, keep it moving.
That's
I like
so
that.
Cardi B, isn't it?
It is,
All
yes.
right. Well, listen, today starts a series of events marking 1 year since Helene passed through this morning. State leaders will meet to discuss the push for recovery money. WRAL's Ali Cadlebar live outside the state legislative building this morning. And Ali, North Carolina has only received about 10% of that, what FEMA funds were supposed to come to our state.
Ken, there's still more than $44 billion left unfunded, and that's why we're going to hear from lawmakers and leaders throughout the state pressing for more funding from the federal government. Now, counties are still dealing with devastating damage from this storm, and it's hurting them financially. The state requested money from the feds to cover about half of the damage. The federal government has approved 10%. A portion is from FEMA. FEMA's delay stems from this new approval process, and in a hearing yesterday, we heard from legislators who say that they are frustrated with the federal government on these delays.
People of our mountain counties have shown extraordinary courage. They've carried each other through grief, rebuilt roads with their own hands. But the biggest storm still hammering North Carolina is not Helene. It is government failure.
Now, in the past 2 weeks, FEMA has approved millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars for support for Western North Carolina. But today we're going to hear from those lawmakers and leaders. They're going to discuss the recovery efforts still underway and the need for that funding. That virtual meeting is today at 11 a.m. WRAL is going to be listening in. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Cadlebar, WRAL News.
All right, let's get another check on our weather forecast. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner standing by in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a front that's actually going to push through and bring us some rain, Elizabeth.
Yeah, this is our next weather maker. I think everybody, or I shouldn't say everyone, but a lot of people are hoping for some rain. The lawns are dry. The trees are getting stressed. And we're going to most likely get a good soaking. This is going to be a long and complicated pattern change. First of all, the cold front's going to come through and stall over us. That's going to bring us some scattered showers and thunderstorms. It really looked like that Friday, tomorrow, might bring us an all-day rain. It no longer looks like that. It looks like this is going to be fairly scattered. We do have a little bit of light rain back around the triads. Some of that might sneak in this morning, but we're looking at the potential later this afternoon and evening for a few isolated severe storms. We do have that level 1 risk for severe weather. Level 1 means maybe 1 or 2 storms produce some wind damage. We're seeing some sunshine right now. That'll continue on and off through lunchtime, but around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, we begin to see a wave of some cells popping up. Again, that's where we could see the potential for a few isolated severe storms, and around 9 o'clock again we see another wave that comes through. And then we're watching what happens in the tropics. It's a 90% chance that this system becomes Imelda, and then we have Umberto. Both of these storms are likely to start to move toward the United States. And then the big question mark is, are they going to get kicked out, or is Umberto going to get closer to the coast and force Imelda inland? I'll tell you, some of the newer ones of the computer models want to bring Imelda inland, maybe around South Carolina. Those are brand new runs of the model. So we're watching that very closely. Bottom line is we're likely to see a good bit of rain Saturday, Sunday. Those hurricanes or tropical systems, whatever they do become, could help us to bring more rain across the area Monday, even into Tuesday. Right now, we're seeing partly cloudy skies. 74 is our temperature. Dew point is 68. So it's a really warm and muggy start this morning. Temperatures are mostly in the low to mid 70s, and it's another hot afternoon. Highs will be in the low to mid 90s. But this may be our last 90-degree day of the year. Our normal height is 80. Once we get into some of that heavier rain Saturday, Sunday, and early next week, we're looking at highs in the 70s. We could see from really today all the way through Tuesday easily 3 to 4 inches of rain. We'll be watching it closely.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. Before we go to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic coming up next.